Okay, I think we'll go ahead and get started. Again, thank you folks very much for coming out this morning, taking out a little bit of your time to come and hear our presentation. We've got lots and lots of good trips here we've got all the rest of this year's planned, plus we've got a few for next year, and both Paul and I know what we're pretty well doing for the entire year of 26 next year. So we'll talk to you about those. For those of you that have not traveled with me before, which is not too many of you, I am Deb Harkness. I've been with Northland Travel now for about 15 years and love what I do. My sidekick Jim over there, he's my savior. Him and I do this together all the time. And so we keep busy. Way back in my formal years when I worked full-time, not that I don't work full-time now, but when I did work full-time, why I was in nursing. And so I got burned out from that, and this opportunity came forward. And so I have been doing this now for about the last 15 years. So I'll turn this over and let Paula tell you a little bit about herself, and then we'll get started.
Turn the microphone. Okay, I'm Paula Templemeyer. I'm a retired school teacher, and I love to travel. And when I retired, I would go out to Rhonda. I'd sub, I guess, X number of days so I can take a trip. And Rhonda booked all my trips for me. And back in 2019, she said, "Listen, you want to work for us and escort trips?" And I stuck out my arm and said, "Twist it real hard." And so I've been doing this since COVID hit, which threw a monkey wrench into the first ones. But I love to travel, and I love to travel internationally. So the international ones are mostly mine there. So, but
that's why her and I work good together, because I'd rather stay here and she'd rather go. So
I want to get on a plane and get there and then get on a bus. So, but yeah, so we'll get going here. Yeah. Suzanne's hiding in the corner. And Suzanne is also one of our tour escorts in that too. So
she's the one that comes to our rescue when I've had a couple last minute, when I was going to do short trips, couple last minute things come up that I couldn't do it within, I realized that within the last few weeks prior to the trip. And good old Suzanne leaves a suitcase packed all the time. And sure, she said, "I'll go." So we totally appreciate her. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about, since I'm the motor coach person here, Arrow Stage Lines has been our motor coach carrier now for about the past 5 or 6 years. And we are 110% satisfied with them. They provide us, they're based out of Omaha, Nebraska, and they provide us with excellent buses. They're always the prime buses, lots of nice, good seating in them for you. Wi-Fi, they have the electric plug-ins, the whole schmear. And I've been fortunate. The first couple of years we had them, we were jockeying around a little bit with drivers trying to find a good one and find one that you work with. Yourself, in my position, myself and a driver, you have to have a good bond with them. Because, you're a team, including Jim, of course. You're a team, and you have to work together. And a couple of the drivers we had, we just didn't quite find that bond. But anyway, about 2.5, 3 years ago, we latched on to Daryl. And he has come on, and he's excellent. He's a full-time driver for Arrow. He has been with them, or drove bus anyway, for over 20 years. And he's great with everybody. Not only is he a super driver, he has a very great outgoing personality. He mingles well with all of you, and he enjoys doing, just like we do, he enjoys doing what he's doing. So, we can always rest assured that things are going to hopefully go well. And him and I, we've worked together long enough now. I know his preferences, he knows mine, and so we, I think, work well together. And I always say to him when I'm talking to people, I said, if you don't, you better say something. And he hasn't said nothing yet. So we'll see. Anyway, so that's just a little bit about our buses. Also, and you folks here most times don't get involved in that. We usually start picking up here in Fort Dodge. But if you ever get onto the shuttle, have to get onto our shuttle, we have, in the last few months, started working nonstop with Majestic Limo, which is based out of Ankeny and Ames. And they're a super good shuttle for us. We've had no problems, no issues with them. Again, there for a couple of years, we were fighting with other smaller companies to find some decent shuttles, but we've latched onto these guys and they are super. You know, the drivers come in suits and ties and very, very professional, very nice vehicles. So anyway, we're super happy with them as well.
Okay. Do you have a real ID? You need to have that yellow star in the corner of your driver's license if you want to fly domestically. So let's say you wanted to go to Chicago. If you want to fly, you have to have a real ID as of May 7th. So when you renew your driver's license, then it will automatically have that. A lot of people have been waiting till their driver license is due to be renewed, and that isn't going to happen in time. So if you need to fly domestically and your driver's license hasn't been updated to a real ID, you will need to take your passport with you to fly domestically. But you got to have one or the other, so just a heads up. If you're going with me, you're going to need a passport. Okay. On the brochures, if you see an airplane, that means you're taking a plane. If you see a passport, that means you're leaving the country. Even if you're going to Canada, you need a passport. So just be aware of that. Those are a couple symbols to look for. And now comes the trips.
Okay, so the first one that I have is the Wonders of Wisconsin, and that one will be going here June 16th to the 20th. It's a 5-day trip. What I've been telling folks is if you do not have, if you have not done motor coach, I'm sorry.
Yeah. You can't touch the computer. We're gonna lose it.
Oops. I messed it up already. All right, I'll stand out here. Anyway, if you have not done bus trips before and are a little leery or just a little, trying to be cautious, this would be a good one for you to start out on. It's a short one. It's just a 5-day trip. We're only going to Wisconsin. It's basically central Wisconsin that we're going. So we're not on the road a whole lot, but yet we're doing a whole lot of fun things. These aren't in order that I'm doing them, but this is just an idea of what we will be doing. We're going to be doing the Fireside Dinner Theater out in Fort Atkinson, Wisconsin. The show that's going to be put on there is the Church Basement Ladies, the Last Potluck Supper. So that should be a good one. Dancing Horses show. It's an arena. Oh, it's bigger than this here room, but it's a little bit bigger. Where they have these horses that they've got all decked out in fancy stuff. And then they have these girls that do acrobats on these horses as they're performing in the ring. It's really kind of cool to watch. The girls are dressed kind of like in Vegas outfits, if you know what I mean there. But anyway, and we'll have lunch there. So that's just kind of a fun thing to see. We also will be doing a train ride and visiting the Mid-Continent Train Museum, where they have lots of their former train cars that they used to use. They're all restored. And so I think you'll enjoy that. We will also be going to Baraboo, Wisconsin, and taking in the circus there. And then the Circus Museum, which is also there on the grounds. They too there have a lot of the old circus wagons that they've restored. And so you'll get to see all those. And then we're going over to Oshkosh, and we're going to take in the Experimental Aircraft Museum, which if you're an air enthusiast, why, you ought to love this. That place is really, really neat. Can't go to Wisconsin without visiting a cheese factory. So we're going to do that. And then the first day out, we're going to head over to Warrens, Wisconsin, and we're going to visit a cranberry farm out there. As most or some of you may know, the Warrens, Wisconsin area, Tomah, Wisconsin area, is well known for the cranberries. And so we're going to go out to a farm. The lady that owns the farm, I think she's like 3rd or 4th generation cranberry farmers. So she'll take you out to the bogs. Obviously, the bogs aren't full because it's in the spring or the early summer, but the plants are usually about that high. And she'll tell you all about those. She'll tell you how they do flood the bogs, and you'll learn all about that. And then she'll take you back. They harvest, those particular people there harvest their own cranberries. And so then she'll take you back to their harvesting facility there and show you how that all happens. And then we'll go back into little old Warrens that doesn't consist of hardly anything, but they do have a nice cranberry discovery center there. And there they have a lot of the antique cranberry harvesting equipment that you'll learn about. Plus you get to have some cranberry ice cream there. So anyway, this is June 16th to the 20th. I do need these first few trips that Paul and I are going to talk about. We're going to be giving you some deadlines that it's like now or first of next week. But we're to the point where we need to know. On this Wisconsin, I only have 6 open spaces left, and the tour actually closes as of today. So Monday morning, I'm going to have to call in my final numbers. So on this one, if you should decide you'd like to do it, I do need to know today. Okay?
Don't go far, you're next.
Okay, and then the next one is the Majestic Canadian Rockies. And this one here, July 19th to the 26th. We will be, Suzanne's doing this one. Yeah, I was going to do it, and then we had a grandson that decided to get married during that time frame. So obviously family comes first, so I asked Suzanne to cover this for me, but Rhonda and I have been putting this together for about a year, and we will pick you up here in your designated spot, which if you haven't traveled with Northland before, our pickup point is over at the Brookstone Inn over on the other side of town, okay? You are able to leave your vehicle there for nothing, no charge, and then leave it there in the parking lot while we're gone. You don't have to stay the night before or anything. And then leave it there and then, while we're gone. And you can do that on this trip as well. Anyway, the July 19th to the 26th, and it'll be an 8-day trip. We will pick you up here. We will bus you up to Minneapolis and check you into a hotel up there. And then Suzanne's going to be with you the entire time. And then when we get to Minneapolis or to the hotel, you'll stay overnight there. The next morning, you will then get on the hotel shuttle, which we'll have lined up. And you'll get on the hotel shuttle and you will transfer over to Minneapolis Airport. Once you get to Minneapolis Airport, we're working with Landmark Tours. You'll see as we go on here this morning, we've partnered with them in 2 or 3 different tours. And so this is one of them that we've partnered with them on. And so once Suzanne and you folks get to the Minneapolis Airport, you will be met right there as soon as you step off the bus by a Landmark guide. And at that time, then Suzanne, throughout the whole trip, obviously will look after your needs and everything. But this Landmark guide will be your main guide. He or she has been up there. They do this tour every year. They have been up there, scads of times. So very experienced and know the area very well. You will fly from Minneapolis to Calgary, Alberta. And then that's where you'll start the tour. We do have full information on it up here if you're interested. Some of the places you'll be visiting: Banff National Park, Lake Louise, Icefields Parkway. You'll do an Ice Explorer glacier expedition where you get on those vehicles that got those big tires, and then it's like a little mini bus on top. You climb up in and go out onto the glacier. So you'll get to do that. You will be dipping back down into the United States, back down into Montana a little bit one day, and you're going to do Glacier National Park. So that'll be fun. While you're up there, you'll do the Bow River float trip, and then Emerald Lake. Also, you'll be visiting that, plus a lot of other things. So that, again, is going to be a fun trip. You will need, of course, a passport for that. We have this one we got to close on. Next Monday, we have 4 seats available right now in this one. Right now we have, including Suzanne, 18 signed up for this. And so but the tour closes. They wanted to close it on us here about a week ago, and we told them that we had the shows, and they said, okay, we'll give you 1 more week. So as of Monday, we need to know the final count for that and get those called in. So if you're interested, we need to know that. Go for it, girl.
Okay, in August, we are headed to Scotland and Ireland. And the price includes the airfare, so be aware of that. You'll need your passport. We'll fly to Scotland, and then we'll join the company there, international company with a local guide. And we will do Glasgow, Loch Ness, Edinburgh Castle. We're going to do the military tattoo. And I took this trip in June about 5 years ago and didn't get to see the military tattoo. So I said, this time we're going in August. Military tattoo is precision marching.
Hard to hear.
Okay, precision marching, and the guys are all in their kilts and everything. It's just fascinating to see. Google it. It's just amazing. So that's the highlight of the trip. Then we'll ferry over to Northern Ireland. We'll do Belfast and do the Titanic Museum there. Very, very interesting. And then we'll head into Ireland. We'll do Dublin. We'll head down, give you a chance to kiss the Blarney Stone. We'll go over by Shannon area. We'll see the Cliffs of Moher, all the traditional Irish stuff, medieval banquet, lots of fabulous food. There are only 3 or 4 spots left on this trip, and we need to know by give or take May 1st or 2nd if you want to go on this one. We've got 21 people right now, and we had reserved 24 slots, so only 3 or 4 spots left on that one. All right, there we go.
I did want to point out too, before we get too far into these trips, when we're talking my bus trips, my motor coach trips here, when I say we only have 6 spots left, a normal, as most of you know, a normal motor coach holds 54, 56, 52 people on the average. Ever since COVID, when we used to normally average, prior to COVID, probably 40, 45 on some of our more popular trips. But after COVID, when we first went back, that was still when the social distancing and all that stuff was, into place, and restaurants, you could sit here and sit there, but you couldn't sit here. And so anyway, it was just very, very hard to get groups in anywhere. And so we said, okay, let's try it, cutting it at 30, where we maxed out at 30, and give that a try for a while and see how that goes. It went fantastic. You folks loved it and said, hey, this is great. Can we keep it at this? So when you speak, we listen. And we have then since then kept our capacity level at 30. So that gives you, on the motor coach, gives you places to space or to spread out. Nobody's having to sit on top of each other. You've got more room in the bus. You can buy more if you want to buy more, shop more. Anyway, and you get sooner in. It's less time getting into restaurants, into restroom stops, whatever the case may be. It's just so much faster. So we still to this day have it at 30, and we have no intentions. That's how we price in our trips, is at 30. So we have no intentions on going back to any more in the future. When I say 30, sometimes it's a couple under, sometimes it's a couple more, but 30 is basically the point. So like on the Wisconsin, when I said there's 6 seats available, that I'm talking up to 30. So I just wanted to clarify that. Okay, Colorado, August 9th to the 15th. That's a 7-day trip. This one here, before I forget, we have, if you picked up any of our itineraries up here, which if you haven't, and after you listen to our presentation, you see anything that you would like up here, all of our 2025 itineraries are up here, and a few of Paula's early 2026s are. I do not have any of my 26s up there yet, but I have some overall information on them that we'll talk about here in a little bit. So anyway, what I started to say is that these trips, the motor coach trips, some of them have early booking discounts. And so this Colorado one, after I talk about it here, it does have a $50 early booking discount on it that's still in effect right now that you can use. Plus, right now for the travel show, we are giving an additional $25 off per person on anything as a little incentive. So like for instance, on this trip here, why you'll have $75 off total the per person cost. Okay, so a little bit about the Colorado. We are going to, this is August 9th to the 15th. Some of the things, and again, these aren't in chronological order, But we're going to be doing a cog railway up to the top of Pikes Peak. Pikes Peak is obviously the tallest mountain out there. When you get up there, the air is thin and it's cold, but the ride up there is beautiful. And of course, the cog railway is the ones that, the cogs catch on the rail all the way up. It's really quite the thing to see. And 9 times out of 10, when we get up there, why there is snow, you still see snow up there. So we'll get a chance to do that. We're also going to, the main thing here I wanted to point out on this one too, is that all of these activities that we're going to be doing here in Colorado are based in the area of Colorado Springs. So we will travel to Colorado Springs. We will get checked into a jury in there. If you haven't stayed at juries before, each evening you have a complimentary evening meal there. Plus they have a happy hour there that's complimentary. So folks seem to like that. But we will stay there for the 4 nights that we're in the area. So we'll just hub and spoke out of there each day. So it's one of those hotels that you can go in and unpack and not have to worry about packing the next morning. You can spread out for a few days. We'll also, while we're there, be visiting Garden of the Gods. We'll take in the Royal Gorge scenic train. And on this here, this is
I'll try to move the arrow.
That's okay. Anyway, over here is the gorge down here. This is rocks on one side and this is rocks on the other. And this is the gorge. This is 1,000 feet deep down here. And the train goes along the Colorado River. The train down at the bottom of the gorge goes along the Colorado River there. And we'll see rafters out there all the time. It's kind of cool to see them out rafting. And then in the afternoon, we'll do the train ride in the morning. And then in the afternoon, we will go up to Royal Gorge Park. And Royal Gorge Park is what you see here on the screen. The bridge, that's a walkway bridge. It's a walk bridge. It's not a drivable bridge, but it's a walk bridge. You'll walk out under that bridge if you want to. Look 1,000 feet down, and you'll see where you were on the train that morning. So it's pretty cool to see that. It's beautiful out there, so I think you'll enjoy that. And then also we'll be visiting Seven Falls Park, which is a confluence of different waterfalls coming down. They have lights that shine on them and make it really pretty. That too is in a gorge where all that happens. We're going to and then go into Colorado Springs itself, and we'll be seeing the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Museum. A lot of worldwide Olympians train in Colorado Springs due to the high altitude, and so to make them more fit. And so they have a beautiful museum there that they constructed 4 or 5 years ago, and it's really, really put together well. So we'll get a chance to visit that. And then on the way home, we will go through Abilene, Kansas, and stop at the Eisenhower Presidential Library and Museum while we're out there too. I've had folks ask me, aren't you going out while we're in Colorado Springs? That's where the Air Force Academy is. And of course, they've got the beautiful chapel out there and that everybody's seen pictures of. And we are not going out there due to the fact that the chapel right now is in the middle of a 4 or 5 year, 3 or 4 year anyway. I think it's like 4 years, 4-year renovation, major renovation, where you cannot see anything. You go out there and it's all boxed in, the whole chapel, because that way they can work in the winter on it as well. And so it's totally enclosed. And so if we drive out there, all you do is see this big box, big wooden box over the chapel. So we unfortunately can't do that. But as soon as it opens up again, we'll be back out there.
Oops, went the wrong way. Maybe going the wrong way. Isn't technology wonderful? Come on. All right. In September, and the price includes airfare. Because if you pick up a flyer, there's a note that on the back that still said airfare wasn't included, and it was in by the time we started printing and then it got caught up in there, but that 5524 includes airfare. I think we have an overnight we meet at the Des Moines airport. We don't have to overnight on this one. And we'll fly to Toronto. And from Toronto, we'll get on a bus and we stay there one night, and then we'll head over to Niagara Falls, and we'll see it from the Canadian side, which is the pretty side, I have to tell you. We will spend a night in Niagara Falls so that you can see the falls at night, by the way. Some of the places we'll go to, and I'm not going to give you lots and lots of details because we got 25 trips and you don't want to be here all day. So I'm just going to hit a couple of high points. We'll go through Ottawa, the capital of Canada. We take a cruise on Thousand Island and Lake. We'll go up to Quebec City. We'll go to Montreal. We have some special meals, some special side trips for us. And then we will fly back from Montreal. Now, the vendor called Tuesday morning and said, whatever seats you don't use, we are pulling back on May 1st. We have 10 seats left. So if you want to go on this trip, you need to let myself or Deb can sign you up today. We can get you registered today or call Rhonda on Monday or Tuesday. But there's only 10 spots left, and the vendor is going to pull them back if we haven't used them on May 1st. So just give you a heads up. Practice your French. There we go.
Okay, and this one here, this is going to be, for those of you, and I've got a few of you in here that travel with me on a regular basis. And so one of the things, it's great that I've got this so-called following crowd. I love it. But part of the idea there is when you've got folks that like to go with you and travel with you. We went to Mackinac Island this year. They're not interested in going to Mackinac Island next year. So I have to always keep coming up with new ideas, or we both, Paul and I, do. And so this is a new one that we've come up with. Cow Trails, Twister Trails, and the Great Plains Adventure, September 29th to October 6th. It's an 8-day trip. And if any of you went with me on the Coastal Carolina trip last spring, last spring, you'll remember Carol was our step-on guide for the North Carolina Outer Banks. And she's the one that has put this trip together for us. She does sporadic different places across the U.S. that she does tours on. And if you were with me, you know that she's a very energetic, fun, outgoing gal that like us enjoys what she does. And so I think you'll enjoy her. But anyway, we will bus out to Wichita, Kansas. We'll spend 2 nights out there. We will be joined by Carol out there then. And some of the things that we'll be seeing, the Big Well Museum. We're going to take in a lot of the old cowboy stuff, the old Western stuff from back in the days. And we'll take in the Big Well Museum out there. We're going to go visit Old Cow Town. It's going to be Kansas and Oklahoma that we're featuring here in this one. We'll visit the National Weather Center. If it works out, Carol's son will join us for 1 day on this trip. She's hoping that he can. He is a professional weather chaser, or professional storm chaser. And so he's going to come on with us for a day. You'll hear about some of the stories, some of the things that he has endured over the course of the years, things he's seen, and tell you all about what is really involved in being a storm chaser. So that should be real interesting. So we're going to do that. We will also visit the Oklahoma City National Memorial in Oklahoma City, which most of you know way back how many years it was ago, 25 years ago, I think. That when the bombing first occurred out there. So if you haven't seen that there, that's one of those places that really hits you in the heart. Will Rogers Memorial, we'll be visiting that. We're going to go over to the Pioneer Woman Mercantile, which on TV, I'm sure most of you have seen Lee Drummond, the redheaded lady that likes to cook. She's got the mercantile out there. We're going to go there. We will take in the Cherokee Nation Culture and Welcome Center while we're out there, plus a whole lot more. We're going to hit some Route 66 places and just do some fun things. It's just a different trip that we put together, and I think you'll really enjoy it. This one too, I've got to know pretty quick if you're going to do it. And this one has, remember back in the Kmart days when you used to have the blue light special? Well, this one I got a blue light special on. So it's $75 off per person off of the per person price up there. So take a look at that and see what you think. Okay, that's all on that one. All right, then in where's my paper? October 18th to the 21st, I'm going to do the Twilight Riverboat. Their actual riverboat is 2 days, but we'll be gone 4 days. We'll go down the first night down to the Quad Cities, and we'll be staying there in Rock Island. And that night, we're going to be going to the Circa 21 Dinner Theater, which is a very historic, beautiful dinner theater right there in Rock Island. And this is what I'm super excited about. The production or the play that we're going to see that night, a musical, I guess you'd call it, musical that we're going to see that night is entitled Come From Away. I had never heard about this until I read it on here. But what this is this beautiful musical tells a true story that has become something of a legend. On 9/11, the residents of the isolated small town of Gander, Newfoundland, played host to the world when 38 planes carrying thousands of people from around the globe were diverted to tiny Gander's airstrip on a moment's notice. In the week after 9/11, residents bonded together to house, clothe, and feed nearly 7,000 stranded travelers, all while building lasting friendships and connections with them. This is a true heartwarming story. So I'm anxious to see that. I think that sounds pretty cool. So then we'll do that night. The next morning, which is a Sunday morning, we'll get on a Twilight Riverboat. We'll travel down to LeClaire, which is about an hour down. We'll get on in LeClaire and take the Twilight Riverboat up to Dubuque. And in Dubuque, then once we get there, it's an all-day cruise. Of course, while you're on there, you got lots and lots to eat. And there's entertainment on there. And it's October, so hopefully the leaves will be pretty and all that good stuff. We'll end up in Dubuque on the Grand Harbor Resort, right there on the Mississippi. Where we dock is within walking distance to the Grand Harbor Resort. So we'll walk you over there, get you checked in. It's just half a block, if that much. Get you checked in, and then the few hours you got left that night, if you want to go, Diamond Joe Casino is right across the parking lot. You want to go over there and gamble a little bit, you can. If you want to go out for a nice walk along the riverfront, they've got a beautiful, it's not a boardwalk, but it's a cement boardwalk along the river there that's really pretty. So you can do that. The next morning, then, you'll have tickets to the National River Museum, which also sits kind of across the parking lot there from the hotel. You'll get to see that or visit that. And then probably around 11 o'clock, 10:30, 11 o'clock, we'll get back on the Twilight Riverboat and we'll go back down to LeClaire. We'll sail in there 6 o'clock or so that night. We'll stay there that night in LeClaire, and then the next morning we'll head for home. And on the way home, we're coming up through the Amana colonies, and we'll stop and have lunch there in the Amanas before we come on home. So again, that is October 18th to the 21st. And that one has a $25 early booking discount that's still effective on it as well. That actually ends today. And then, of course, you'll get your $25 off for the travel show discount as well. So you get $50 off on that one. Okay.
Okay, and then in October, I'm escorting a pilgrimage tour to Fatima Lourdes in Medjugorje. And this is 14 days, air included. Basically, the only thing you got to pay for is lunch if you want it and any souvenirs. It's a very inclusive trip. Our local pastor, Monsignor McCoy from Holy Trinity Parish, will be our spiritual director on this particular pilgrimage. And we're keeping it to a small number, too. We won't be joining any other group. It'll be us. There will be thousands of other people there, but it'll be our group. We'll fly into Lisbon, and I'm not going to read you every single thing on there. And the flyer has a very detailed description because a lot of people don't know what makes a pilgrimage different from, as I call it, a Tammy tourist tour, okay? So this will have Mass every day, rosary, etc. And so this has quite a bit of information. We'll do Lisbon, we'll go to Santarem where there was a Eucharistic miracle. Then we'll head to Fatima where the Blessed Mother appeared to the 3 children. We'll see the basilica. We'll see the village where they lived. We'll see the site where she appeared. Candlelight processions with the rosary. We'll participate in all of those. We're there for about 3 days. Then we will fly to Lourdes, already included in the price. We'll stay in the town of Lourdes. We'll have a walking tour. We'll go to the Grotto Massabielle where the Blessed Mother appeared. Again, Mass, candlelight processions, rosaries, all of that included. Then we will fly over to Medjugorje. A lot of people don't know where Medjugorje is. Medjugorje is a city in Bosnia-Herzegovina. There will be a geography quiz here, okay? If you know where old Yugoslavia used to be, when that country broke up, Bosnia-Herzegovina is one of the countries now. So we'll fly over probably either Dubrovnik or Sarajevo. I'm not sure which one we fly into. Then we will bus to Medjugorje. And we'll be there for about 4 days. And you will have the opportunity again for daily mass, climb Apparition Hill where the Blessed Mother has been appearing. There's they call it Cross Mountain, Mount Kruševac, that you have a chance to climb a different day. There'll be adoration, reconciliation, a visit to Mother's Village, hopefully, which is the orphanage, Senekolo, which is a world famous drug rehab center was started in that area, and just all the things that go along with that. So that 6750 includes all the air flights we got going on here. So we got a lot of air flights, the local transportation, breakfast and lunch, and getting in and everything there. So if you're interested in that and have more questions, just see me after the show.
Okay, and then before you know it, we're back into Christmas time again. November 3rd to the 7th, I'm doing my yearly Branson Christmas. I always do that the first week in November, and this year's no exception. I do want to tell you up front here before I start talking about this, we have one room. I have one room left on this trip now, and it will be full, whether you come as a single or a double or however. But I just have one room left. So if you would decide to do this, why I really highly suggest that you sign up, right here on the spot. Some of the things we're going to be doing on the way down, we're going to go down to Jefferson City. The first night we'll stay in Columbia, Missouri. Then the next morning we will go down a little further to Jefferson City, which is the capital of Missouri. We'll go down there and we're going to tour the former state penitentiary museum, which is there. It closed back in 2004, but and they turned it into a museum, and so we're going to get a chance to go through that and tour that, which should be pretty cool, and see just how unfortunate some of those folks had to live there for many, many years. So we're going to do that, and then we will go have lunch at a restaurant that's about a block or so away that is called I don't have it here with me, but anyway, it's a replica of the prison. They've got, not a replica, but they've built it off of the prison. You go in the restaurant and there's bars, in the restaurant, and that trying to represent, the cells. So that's pretty cool. We will do that. And then we will head on down to Branson. These aren't in the order that we will be seeing them, but we will be seeing 5 different shows while we're there. We'll be seeing the Texas Tenors, which everybody is very familiar with them. We'll be seeing Six. Six is an a cappella group of 6 brothers that came to Branson several years ago. They have no vocal or no instrumental backups. There's no bands, there's no guitars, there's no nothing. They do a cappella, but a couple of the boys do all the background music with their mouths and different sounds and all that. So it sounds just like they have backup, but it's all just the voices that these guys are putting on. So it's really, really kind of cool. Every Branson trip that I take, I always take in whatever is showing, whatever production is on at the Sight and Sound Theater. That's the big religious theater down there that was built several years ago. There's only about 3 of them in the United States, but it's huge and it is really, really cool. And this year, they have their productions, they last usually around 10 months or so at a time. And the one that we will be seeing while we're down there now is David live on stage. We've seen Noah there, we've seen Jonah, we've seen The Miracle of Christmas, I think that was there last year. We've seen many, many, many good ones over the years. The cast itself, there's probably 200 people in the cast, and they have a lot of live animals, sheep, donkeys, horses, whatever the case may be. And it's usually a very touching story. So I always include that every year. And then also we're going to be visiting doing Clay Cooper's Country Music Express, a very fast-paced, good country show. The Hughes brothers, they came to town 25, 30 years ago and came from Utah. And when they came, there was just 4 brothers and their mom and dad. Well, since then, the 4 brothers have all obviously married and had multi-kids. I think the oldest one, the last I knew, he had like 8 children. The rest of them have 5 or 6. And so all these kids, or just about all these kids, are involved in the show. They all sing, they all dance, they all perform, they all do fantastic things, and they really put on a good Christmas show. So we'll be seeing them. And then we will be going downtown on the Landing one day and give you an hour or 2 down there to shop around. And then we will go to Paula Dean's for lunch right down there on the waterfront the one day. Plus, we throw in some other fun stuff that we have time for. So, again, that's November 3rd to the 7th. It's a 5-day trip. And like I said, I only have 1 space empty, one room available. And the $50 early booking discount still applies to this trip, in addition to the $25 off over here. So you'd get $75 off. And when we talk about these early booking discounts and these travel show discounts, if you sign up for something, these specials or these discounts, they come off of your final price. If you have say a $250 deposit, you still make the full $250 deposit now, but you can, and then the discount, we make note of the discount on your registration, and that comes off of your final billing. Okay, and then Tennessee Christmas. That is going to be, get my papers all straight here, December 11th to the 19th. And that's an 9-day trip. And we will travel first down to Memphis. On the way down, we're going to stop in Paducah, Kentucky. The first night out, we'll be staying in the St. Louis area at a Drury. And then the next day, we'll go on down towards Memphis. But before we get to Memphis, we're going to stop in Paducah, Kentucky, and you'll visit the National Quilt Museum there. I know this doesn't excite men too much, but it's really quite the thing to see. Their quilts aren't quilt quilts, they're works of art, I guess I'd refer to them. One lady the other day at one of our shows had been there, she said, they're not the quilts you'd put on your bed. And no, they're not. They're really great. So anyway, you'll get to see that. We'll stop there. And then we're going to go on down to Memphis. And when we get into Memphis, we're going to do a unique city tour there. I don't like to give too much away on this. We get into town, and the city tour, yeah, we have a person that comes on and does the usual, this is here what you're seeing, and that's what you're seeing, and et cetera, et cetera. But they also will just liven it up. They do a lot of other fun stuff. And again, I don't want to give it away. So we'll be doing that. Then that afternoon, we'll go over to Graceland and do Graceland in the afternoon. Of course, Graceland at Christmas, so that should be extra pretty. And then the next day, we'll head out of Memphis. And, we're going to give you time in between Graceland and the city tour. You will have time down on Beale Street to go down and get some good barbecue for lunch and walk Beale Street, do a little shopping if you want. So that will be in. And then we'll travel on to Nashville. Once we get to Nashville, first thing we're going to do is a backstage tour of the Grand Ole Opry House. Last year was the first year that I included this on the Nashville trip. Usually we go to Nashville, if not every year, every other year. but I included it in last year and folks really liked it. You really get to see the behind the scenes on, what actually goes on the Opry. And so we'll get to do that. Then we'll take you over to the Opryland Hotel, get you checked in there. The Opryland Hotel is, if you've never been there, it's fantastic. It is huge, 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 huge. While we're there, expect to get lost. We stay there 3 nights. Expect to get lost. That's just part of what happens. But you always find your way out. But anyway, they have, I think it's 3 or 4 different atriums within the hotel. They really, really, really decorate at Christmas time. I mean, it's just greenery galore, and beautiful, beautiful Christmas lights. And so anyway, we'll get checked in there for 3 nights. And then after we get you checked in, we will take you back over to the Opry House, and you'll get to see the Grand Ole Opry that night. And then we will, the next day, I think it's the next day, we go downtown. You're going to be visiting the Country Music Hall of Fame while we're there in town. You'll see, we'll visit the Johnny Cash Museum while we're there. And then one of the things we're also going to do in Nashville while we're there, and this is right out on the Opryland complex, is that we're going to go take in ice. Ice is what ice sculptors from all over the world come, and they sculpt out these beautiful, beautiful figurines or sculptures. What they base it on each year, the whole ice thing has a theme that they base off, what their theme's going to be on the inside. A lot of times it's a Disney theme of some sort, but it's colored ice. It's just beautiful, and they do such a fantastic job. One of my favorite things that I like to see in there when they go in, each year they have this. This is all colored ice, but this is clear ice on this one. They always do the Last Supper, and it's fantastic the way they do it. Lots of huge angels that are carved out. You don't have to worry about taking extra winter coats along, because when you walk in there, obviously it has to be below 32 degrees to keep the ice in form, but they give you these big heavy down coats that go almost to your ankles, and so you wear those while you're in there. And then another thing we're going to do is the General Jackson Showboat, which is a fast-paced, high-energy show on the showboat. You'll have a good meal while you're on that. We'll come back up through Bowling Green, Kentucky. We stopped in Paducah for the women for the quilts, and now we're going to stop in Bowling Green, Kentucky for the men, and we're going to do the National Corvette Museum, which is really cool. And then we'll leave there, and we'll go on up to Louisville, get checked into another jury up there in Louisville, and then we're going to go out and do the lights, what they refer to as the lights under Louisville. And what that is thousands of years ago, all these caverns formed in the Kentucky area, especially around the Louisville area. So there's this one huge cavern that is just outside of Louisville that is formed. And it's big enough on the inside that they've paved a road through it. It's about 2 miles long. They've paved a road through it. And believe it or not, our big old bus can go through the cavern, on this paved road. And all the way through, there's Christmas lights galore by the thousands. And they're just beautiful. Of course, when it's, in an underground setting, it really, really makes them pretty. So we will do that as well. And then we'll come on back up through Illinois and back home again. So again, December 11th to the 19th.
I think the next one's you too. No, went the wrong way. Hold on.
You're going backwards again.
Now we
2026.
Now we get into 2026.
Okay. Here we go. And I got to get this. Okay. We've had a request, and I originally was going to do this, and then I wasn't able to do it. We're working with Landmark Tours on this one again. And so a few weeks ago, or a month or two ago, I guess it was, I called Rhonda one day and said, something's come up here, and I can't do the Rose Bowl parade. I said, is there somebody that could do it? And she says, yeah, and she said, I would love to do it. It's been my dream. So Rhonda is going to host this Rose Bowl parade. You'll take off December 28th. Again, it's a Landmark. We're partnering with Landmark, just like I talked about on the Canadian Rockies. We'll pick you up here. You'll do a pre-night in Minneapolis. Again, you'll take the hotel shuttle over to the hotel or over to the airport, and you will be met by a Landmark guide. Rhonda will be with you the entire time, and you will fly out to California, I think the Long Beach area, if I'm not mistaken. And then you will have lodging the entire time you're out there in Long Beach. While you're there, you will do what they refer to as a float decorating tour, where you'll get to go into this building, a huge building that they decorate all these floats with. And you'll get to see them working on the floats. They have these big planks and platforms around the area that they're working. So you'll get to see them putting all these floats together, which I think should be pretty cool. You will also visit the Huntington Library and Gardens. You'll take a day and do a Catalina Island day trip over to the island. And then Rhonda wanted me to mention that she's had some requests on this one, that the USS Iowa, the way we understand, is within like 7 miles of the hotel. And so the Landmark gal has told us that they have a little free time one afternoon. So Rhonda is going to put this together and line this up for anybody that's interested in going out and visiting the USS Iowa that afternoon. She will take a group out there so that you can tour that. So that'll be pretty special. You'll get to do that. And then you will come back, obviously, New Year's Day, and you will have good seating, premium seating right along the parade route. Landmark has been doing this for years and years and years, and so they have worked their way up to where they have good seating. It's bleacher seating, but they do have cushions, they said, for you. So, and if you're a little weak on the legs or the knees or whatever, there's handrails to help you, get up the bleachers. So you'll do that, and then that night have a nice meal, and then the next day, January 2nd, you will fly home. So again, there's information on it over there. And the pricing does include everything, including the airfare, okay?
All right, then in February, I want to get out of the cold. So we're going to go to Hawaii. At the travel shows last fall, we put out a survey if people were interested in Hawaii, and we had like 20 people said they wanted to do a land one, about 20 people said they wanted to do a cruise. So Rhonda compromised, and we got a little bit of both here. So we have a pre-night. This trip goes February 17th through March 1st. We have a pre-night in Des Moines, and then we fly out and we'll go to Honolulu, and we spend 3 nights there. In Honolulu, we'll do Pearl Harbor, Punch Bowl National Cemetery, King Kamehameha statue, things around there. One day we'll do the Dole Pineapple Plantation, and one day we'll do the Polynesian Cultural Center, and we'll go to a luau, okay? And then the next morning, we have, I think, a quick Eastern Island tour, and then they'll take us over to where the boat is, and we get on the ship. So from February 21st through February 28th, we are on the ship. We will stop in Maui. We'll stop in Hilo, we stop in Kona, and we stop in Kauai. And you have time to get off and you'll have optional excursions that you can do, pick and choose from there. So, and then on the 28th, we'll fly back. A couple of things to note on this is, if you book this by May 2nd,
You say get a little closer.
okay? If you book it by May 2nd, your cruise tips will be included, okay? So you got a couple of days there. Otherwise, after May 2nd, then you would be responsible for paying the tips. But if you book by May 2nd, that's included in that price that's on the sell sheet, okay? So if you got any more questions, and I can give you, and there's lots more details on the sell sheets. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but wanted to stress that one by May 2nd, okay?
Okay, then we're on to April. I'm going to do the Golden Isles of Georgia. It's been a few years since I've done this one, but what this one consists of, if you don't know where the Golden Isles are, they are down in the very base, the very bottom southeast corner of Georgia. They're about 80 miles north of Jacksonville, Florida, if you know where Jacksonville is. So we'll be going down there, doing some fun stuff on the way down. I've got a gal that's going to come on, and we're going to be down actually in the Golden Isles about 4 days. We'll do some fun stuff on the way down, fun stuff on the way home, but be in the Golden Isles about 4 days. The Golden Isles consists of basically three different communities: St. Simon's Island, Brunswick, and Jekyll Island. And when we speak about the islands, we don't have to boat to the islands. We there's causeways between the islands, and so we just travel over the causeway. But some of the things, and I don't have dates on this yet. April 4th is when Easter is next year. I looked the other day, so we're never gone over Easter and never gone the week before Easter. So I would guess this trip will probably be right about mid-April, and it'll be probably a 10 to 11 day trip altogether. It takes about 3 days to get down there when you're doing stuff on the way down and fun stuff on the way home. Some of the things we're going to be doing while we're actually in the Golden Isles, we're going to be visiting a rice plantation. We're going to be going out to the beach and Driftwood Beach, which is beautiful. We'll spend a little bit of time there. Our hotel, I did want to add to our Holiday Inn that we're staying at on Jekyll Island while we're there, is right on the coast, right on the waterfront. So you'll get a chance to have some time there. We'll be visiting a shrimping village while we're out there. We'll do a lighthouse visit. They have about 3 or 4 beautiful old historic churches there, small churches. We'll visit a couple of them. Jekyll Island itself, how it got its name, back in the early 1900s, at that time, they would have been millionaires that lived up in the New York City area. They wanted to get away from the cold in the winter, and so they all settled down and built themselves a little community down there, which they now refer to as Jekyll Island, and built all these beautiful, beautiful, huge mansion houses. Matter of fact, that's one of them back there, that picture. And needless to say, they've restored these homes over the year and kept them up. So we'll get to tour a couple of those. And we will take a tram tour through the historic district here, where you'll get to see all those homes. And they've got a couple really neat older churches there too. One thing we always pride on is trying to get local cuisine, local food when we're in the area. And of course there's going to be a lot of fresh seafood. And so we'll get in on that. We will do a swamp boat tour where hopefully you can see some alligators. We'll be doing a dolphin cruise. So that's just an idea of quite a few of the things that we will be seeing and doing. Again, I will have pricing and a detailed itinerary out in this probably in 6 weeks or something like that. But that brings me to another thing. These papers here that you find on your desk or on your table, for these tours now that Paul and I are starting to talk about, she's got itinerary sheets on some of hers up here, but I don't have any of my 2026 ones up there yet. We're going to talk about a couple more of them here yet. But if you would like information when it becomes available on any of these tours, you're not committed to them. If you just want to read them and see what they're about, you have to put no deposits down, no nothing down on them. Just write your name and your mailing address on this sheet. And then when I get the tours done, I will send you through the mail, not email. I'll send you through the mail the itinerary and the information sheet, so you can take a look at it and decide then if you want to do it or what you want to do about it, or if you have any questions, you can get in touch with me. But please go ahead and write any of these trips that Paul and I are talking about. We don't have information. Write them down on here. When you get ready to leave today, just leave them on the table, and we'll come around and collect them after a while.
Okay. In end of May, first week of June next year, we're headed to Italy. Taste of Italy with Sorrento. We do not have the airfare locked in on this one yet. This is one, some of them, they'll let you do it right away. and some of them you have to wait till 10 months out. So the price there is for the land portion, and then we'll get the air to you. So like Deb said, if you're interested in this one, put it on there, and when we get the air, we'll let you know what the air is. This is one we will fly to Venice, fly out of Des Moines, we'll fly to Venice. In Venice, we will see, go to Murano Island. If you've ever heard of Murano glass, we'll get to watch them blow glass. So we'll get to see that. And if y'all know, Venice is all canals. So we will be on little boats there. We'll take a cruise to Piazza San Marco. We'll see the Doge's Palace, St. Mark's Basilica. You get to take a little gondola ride, and you have some free time to explore. Then one day we'll travel down to Bologna, which has the oldest university in the Western Hemisphere, I think it's called. Have a tour there and head on down to Florence. And in Florence, we will have an orientation walk with an Italian guide. And then one day we'll have a walking tour of Florence. We'll see the Duomo, Palazzo Vecchio. We will Academia Gallery. You'll get to see David's statue, the famous David statue. And I'm going to tell you right now, you are not allowed to take a photo, even if your phone doesn't do a flash. They really, 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 they will yell at you. Trust me. Do not take photos, but you get to, so you can't pose and try and do a selfie with David. That's not going to work. So a couple of things we'll be seeing in Florence. Then on our way to Rome, we're going to stop in Orvieto and do a wine tasting. In Rome, we'll see the Colosseum, the Forum. You have some free time there. We will have a tour of the Vatican Museum, the Sistine Chapel, and St. Peter's Basilica. From there, we'll head down the road another day, stop in Pompeii. Most famous because the city got buried by Mount Vesuvius when it erupted thousands of years ago. So we'll go there and head on down to Sorrento. And we'll stay in Sorrento a couple of nights. One day we'll take a ferry across the Bay of Naples to the Isle of Capri, and you get to spend the whole day there. You can do some sightseeing around the Isle. You can go out to the Blue Grotto. You can just lay on the beach, but we'll be on the Isle of Capri. Then we'll come back to Sorrento, and then we'll go down the coast to Positano, which is known for its famous boutiques, paper making, and things like that we'll get to see there. We'll take a cruise over to Amalfi, along the Amalfi coast, and then we'll go back up to Sorrento, and then we will fly home. So that's 11 days, $54.99, but we do not know the airfare yet on that one. So, all right, roll this the right direction.
And she does have a pamphlet on that.
Yeah, there's flyers on that.
Flyers over there on that one. Okay, then I'm going to do a short little celebration Belle Riverboat cruise in June of next year. Usually they go south. This is going to be a 2-day cruise, and I don't know for sure where we'll start. If we'll start in Dubuque or maybe even up in Prairie du Chien or somewhere a little further north. But this one will go north. We'll go up as far as Red Wing, Minnesota. It will be a 2-day cruise. Cruise one day I cruise up and one day cruise back. That too will end up being a 4-day trip because we need 1 day to go there. We'll do some fun stuff. And then on the day coming home, we'll do some more fun stuff. So again, that's June of 2026. Is my Oregon one next? Yep. Okay, and then in July of next year, I'm going to be doing the Oregon, and this one I will be doing, Oregon Coastal Charms. And this will be a fly trip. This is another one that we've partnered with Landmark Tours out of Minneapolis with. So it's the same scenario that I told you about before. We bus you from here up there when we fly. We'll fly out to Portland, Oregon. While we're out there, we'll be met at the airport, of course, by a local or by their Landmark guide. And I will be with you. Jim and I will be with you the whole time. We'll fly out to Portland. Some of the things we're going to see. We're going to do the Crater Lake National Park. I'm going to do the coastal redwoods along the coastal highway, Pacific Coast Drive, Golden Sand Dunes buggy ride. We'll be doing a Portland City tour. We'll be taking a jet boat cruise on the scenic Rogue River while we're out there. And airfare is included in on this one. I do not have pricing put together yet on this one. I've run out of time. And I just talked with our landmark rep the other day, and he's supposed to have their part of the pricing to me within the next few weeks. So give me about 6 weeks and I should have pricing and the full itinerary on this. And again, if this is one you're interested in or just want to read more on, write it on that paper. Okay, then in August, I'm going to be doing the Finger Lakes. This will be a bus trip. Finger Lakes in New York. If you're not familiar with where the Finger Lakes are, they are kind of in southwestern New York. We're not going anywhere near New York City. But we will go out through Cleveland and we will pick up Carol again. She was the girl that I talked about on the Cow Trails trip and did our Coastal Carolina trip last year. We'll be picking her up in Cleveland and we will then go out towards the Finger Lakes in New York. On our way out there, we're going to go through Pennsylvania. We're going to stop and tour the Flight 93 site that where the airliner crashed back in 9/11 that time. They've got a really touching memorial out there for that. We'll be stopping and seeing that, and then we'll go on up into the Finger Lakes. Again, Carol will be on board the whole time, and while we're out there, we'll be visiting we'll be doing the Crystal Lakes. We'll do a riverboat cruise and just a bunch of other fun things. I don't have all the details on this one yet, but just a bunch of other fun things while we're out there. When we come back, we'll come back to Cleveland. She'll do a Cleveland City tour with us. We will drop her off, and then we will visit the Rock and Roll Music Hall of Fame there in Cleveland before we come on home. So again, that will be August of next year. And then in September, the trains of the Great Southwest. About every 2-3 years, I've been doing the Albuquerque Hot Air Balloon Festival. And I chose to leave that out this time. And we're just going to do, you folks love to do train rides. And so I'm going to do the trains out there of the Southwest. I don't have the direct plans, and these listed here on the sheet are not in chronological order. They're just some of the trains that we're going to be doing. We will be doing the Durango to Silverton train, which is down southwestern Colorado. These are all day trains. There are no overnight trains. They're all day trains. Our bus will drop us off. This is a bus tour. Our bus will drop us off at point A, and if we get off at point B somewhere else, if it's not a round trip, why then the bus will be there to pick us up. But we're going to do the Durango to Silverton train. We're going to do the Cumbros and Toltec train down on the coast right on the northern coast of New Mexico. It's the Colorado-New Mexico border. We're going to do the Verde Canyon Railway back down in Arizona. We're going to do the Grand Canyon Railway in Arizona also. And with that one, we'll take you to Williams, Arizona. We stay the night before at the Grand Canyon Railway Hotel, and then the next morning we get on the train, and we have about a 4-hour train ride up to the Grand Canyon. Once we get up the Grand Canyon, then we're met by Grand Canyon buses. We do the tour of the canyon, which stops periodically, this is the South Rim, not the North Rim, the South Rim. And then, where you can get off and view the canyon and take pictures and all that. And then we, after the tour is done, we will meet up with our tour bus, and then we will head out. Another thing I'm hoping to do, and I can't 100% guarantee this, one of the hidden gems that I call it a hidden gem out there, you hear about Zion National Park, you hear about Bryce, Grand Canyon, of course, all these. But one of the hidden gems out there is Antelope Canyon, a very, very unique, beautiful canyon with beautiful red rock. And the pictures that come out of there are just phenomenal that you can take. And so I'm hoping that I can include that in as well. So again, that'll be September of next year. Give me probably late summer, early fall before I have the information put together on this. But again, you can write it down if you're interested. And I do have a long list already of folks that are interested in this one, in the Finger Lakes, and in Oregon. So, okay.
Yes, I'm going to do the next two.
Good.
Give her a chance to rest. Okay, in October of 26, I'm going to stay in the country, but we're still flying. We're going to fly out to Portland, Maine, and we are going to do autumn in New York, in New England, excuse me, and Cape Cod. We'll fly to Portland, Maine, and there we will, from there on, we're on a bus, but we're going to fly out. We will have an overnight in Des Moines. So the flyer on the back, we're partnering with Mayflower. The actual travel days are October 3rd through 11th, but October 2nd, we will go down to Des Moines and we have an overnight stay because of an early morning flight. That is already included in the price. And that price there, $41.99, includes the air, includes the pre-night. So that's all already there. We'll go to Portland, Maine, travel around there, see some sights there, do Kennebunkport, see the Nubble Lighthouse. We will ride a little train, hopefully, into New Hampshire or Vermont area, see the leaves. Can't guarantee, but this is prime time for leaves. But they do tell you, Mother Nature gets to decide. And sometimes you have a leaf peeping tour, and sometimes you have a twig tour. But they say, generally speaking, if you go the first week of October, you're going to see leaves. We'll head over to Boston. We'll have a walking tour Boston. Okay. We'll bus out onto Cape Cod, Provincetown. One of the days we have a whale watching cruise. I can't guarantee the whales are going to pop out of the water, but we're going to try it. We'll head over, ferry over to Martha's Vineyard, see how the rich and famous live today. Because it's October, some of those people won't be there. They just go there for the summer. Then we'll head over to Newport, Rhode Island. And one of the things we will be going through is the Vanderbilt Breakers Mansion. And that is definitely how the other half lives, okay? You won't be seeing one of those around here. And we will fly back. So lots of sightseeing, lots of great food in there. And so that's that one, okay? And now I got to scroll. We're going to skip that green and go to me. And then we come to my bucket list. This is something I've always wanted to do. I said I've watched too many Hallmark movies where they're in Europe at Christmas and they're wandering through the Christmas markets. And I've been to some of the cities in Germany and Switzerland where they have Christmas markets, but I've been there in June and August, and you're going into a big store. Yeah, I want to see the markets when they're all decorated and the city's all lit up. Partnering up with Mayflower on this one. This one is a riverboat cruise. So your nights are spent on the boat. So you get to unpack once. Okay. This includes airfare, this price. Okay. So we will fly to Zurich, Switzerland, and then head over to Basel and get on the boat. And the stops we make are, we'll stop in Breisach, Germany. And another day we'll stop in Strasbourg, France. And then we'll go over to Ludwigshafen, Heidelberg, Germany. Koblenz, Germany. We'll go up to Cologne, Germany. And one of the things we'll see in Cologne is we will see the famous Cologne Cathedral. Okay. And we end our tour in Amsterdam. And we'll have a canal boat ride there. So we will do Christmas markets in all of these places. Okay, so all that information is on here. The pricing, if you want to upgrade, we put the $44.39 is an emerald stateroom. If you want a balcony, if you want a little higher up on the boat, all that pricing is on here. So then your price would go up, but that's on here so you can see what it is. But that's Christmas markets on the Romantic Rhine. Some people say it's too close to Christmas, December 7th through 15th. They don't do the Christmas markets with all the lights and all of that until Thanksgiving through here. So we're very limited on when we could go. The other option was going on the Saturday of Thanksgiving. And I told Rhonda, I said, there's no way I'm trying to take people through an airport on Thanksgiving Saturday, because you always hear the horror stories of all the flights being canceled. So I said, we'll take the December one. So that's the next one. And I got to back it up. There we go.
Okay.
Almost done.
And then next year, like I said before, I do the Branson Christmas every year. So the first week in November next year, I'll be doing that one. And then in December, I will be taking a Christmas trip again somewhere else. It'll, can probably be up to 5-6 days, something like that. I do not know where I want to go or where we will be going for this one, but this is one that I'm asking for feedback from you guys. If you have someplace, I'm talking motor coaching, I'm not talking flying, I'm not talking international, I'm talking something here in the States, that we could do within a 5, 6, 7 day range. Why? Give me your ideas and I'll, bounce off of those. The other thing on here that is on this one is on Alaska. And this, we're going to back up to June of 26 next year for this. I am going to be doing another cruise tour for Alaska. It will be sometime in June, preferably it'll be mid to late June. Hopefully the later in June, the better. It'll be about a 14-day trip. Again, like I said, it'll be a cruise tour. So we will pick you up. We'll take you up to Minneapolis. This is one that Northland puts on. We don't partner with anybody on this one. We will pick you up and you'll fly then to Anchorage. It's usually nonstop flights. We'll fly to Anchorage. Once we get up there, we'll get checked into a hotel in Anchorage, and we will do about over the course of the next 6-7 days, I think it is. It's a Holland America package is what it is. Holland America Cruise Lines. They put these big packages together to do the land and sea together. And so that's what we'll be doing. While we're on land, the 5, 6, 7 days we're on land, we'll be visiting Denali, of course. We will take the Denali train, the glass dome train, and it's beautiful, just beautiful. And good Lord willing, while you'll get to see the top of Denali. We'll be doing that. We'll go into Denali. I think we spend 2 nights there. One of the days we will be going out to Denali National Park on a bus tour, and you'll get to see some of the animals running around there. We also on this trip will be dipping over into the Canadian side for a little bit, and we will go in there and see the gold panning. You'll get a chance to do some gold panning. You'll see, hear stories on the gold rush days. Also, we will then, the last day that we're on land, we will take a train, the White Pass Railway train, down from the mountains where we're at up in the mountains, down to Skagway, Alaska. Beautiful, beautiful drive on the way down. And then we will end up just on the outskirts of Skagway. And Skagway is where we will then get on a cruise ship and we will cruise in for the next 4 to 5 days. I don't know the exact ports that we'll be stopping in. We always stop in Ketchikan. That's always a given. But I don't know. Rhonda hasn't picked out the exact package that she's going to do yet. So, but I will be doing this. Jim and I have been very fortunate over the years. I think this one here next year will, I think, make about our 10th trip to Alaska. We've taken groups there many, many, many times. And before we ever started doing that, him and I were out there 3-4 times on our own. So we're very familiar with it. And I love it today as much as I did the first time I went. So that's just a little bit on Alaska. Again, that's one if you're wanting information on next year or for next year, why write it down and we'll get you the information. We should have that information probably by early fall of this year. She'll have Aaron that. So, okay.
Okay, and one thing I want to mention on the international ones, because if you see it on the news, and it is on the sell sheets, the United Kingdom and Europe are now requiring, for lack of a better word, a visa, special permission to travel there. One's called an ETIA. One goes into effect this year. One goes into effect sometime next year. And it's something that you have to download to your phone. Rhonda knows how to do it. So if you're taking the Italy one or Scotland, Ireland one, it's good for about 2 years. So she doesn't want anybody to do it now because you'll lose all the time. She'll help you download it, a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks before we go. It's a minimal cost. I think it's like $10 to $15. One of them says if you're over 70, you might get to download it for free, but that would be an additional cost that isn't on the sell sheet. But because the government's over there, they've been trying to put this in for years. kind of like the real ID, and it's been postponed and postponed, but now it's going into effect. So if you see that on some of them, the ETA or ETIA, Rhonda will help us get that loaded up.
And we want to thank you guys all for coming. And if you have any questions about any of these trips, why please talk to Paula or I, and we'll be glad to answer your questions.